If you're like me, you've probably spent most of your life, your Christian experience has been around this narrative that there's no such thing as retirement, that you're supposed to just go until you die, I guess. And the fact of the matter is that the scriptures are really clear that there's provision for generational changes. And in Numbers chapter 8, it clearly lays out that the older men are to pass responsibility on to the younger men, but the older men don't move to Florida. They stay, right? They have a responsibility to still be part of the community, that this multi-generational effect of the wisdom of the aged and the energy of the young and the somewhere in between, all of those kinds of things are where community actually happens. And I'm thrilled about this chapter in our life because Westgate as a community gets to live out this transition in a way that rarely gets lived out. We rarely get the opportunity. By God's grace, He has answered our deepest prayers, and He allows me to stay long enough to get old and then to identify a gifted young man and his wife, and the confidence that I have, not only in his giftedness, but the confidence that I have in your walk with Christ, your humility, your connection with our staff, your agreement with philosophically about what the church should be in the coming years. To align those things in such a cool way is just a gift. It is just this great gift. And so thanks for clicking on this. We're thrilled that you are a part of it and that you want a little bit more information. And that's kind of what we're getting to live now as we hand a baton off, not figuratively, but kind of symbolically, where we hand leadership off and we let me, whose energy is getting less, not much less, and you who have more, a little more, and as it should be, to live through this transition.
Yeah, this entire journey has been humbling, to say the least. And most of you, when you see me on a Sunday, I'm talking, and I'm talking a lot. But this entire season, I have been, for a season, at a loss for words, which is pretty rare for me, but I think it's a good sign. In many ways, it tells me that this moment, most moments are, but especially a moment like this, is way too big for me. And as it should be.
Yeah.
It tells us that we're probably somewhere close to the center of God's will. It feels too big for us. One of the things I wanted to be sure to say, that I've said over and over again, but I want you to hear this because it is crucially important. I just need you to know, as a church community, that I owe everything to Christ, but I owe so very much to Steve and to Dana. And I have wept public tears several times in the last month and a half as I've thanked Steve and Dana over and over again. Your belief in me in ways that I didn't quite believe even about myself. The way Dana has poured into me and seen me and welcomed me. And that word is a very big word. I don't just mean, as a pastor or as a staff member. I mean as a friend and as a brother, and in many ways as a young leader who doesn't know what he's doing. The way you have both embraced me and cared for me and nurtured me. And the way you are both willing to continue doing that in the coming years, because I have asked you to. It means the world to me. And so this journey that we are on it is bigger than me, but it's bigger than Steve. Yeah. This, what God has done through the life of this church in the last 2 decades especially, Steve is a giant figure, but it hasn't ever been about Steve or Dana, and it will never be about me, and it won't actually ever be about you individually. It'll be about us, a ragtag group of misfits that God is binding together as a family, as we together collectively try to live a life of love toward God and deep love for one another and do our best to love our neighbors well. I'm honored and humbled to be a small part of that journey with you both today and moving forward. Jenny and I have always felt like this was home, even in the 4 years that we were away at a wonderful church community in Santa Cruz. It always felt like home here, and we're thrilled to be raising our children here, God willing, for years and years to come. And so, again, I'm honored and humbled and thrilled to be on this journey with you all.
Yeah, so here's what we need you to do. First, if this raises some concerns for you, we hope that you'll get them addressed. Any questions that you might have, there's a button somewhere on this page that we're on that allows you to do that. The second thing is that we would just please pray for our community in this vulnerable time as we transition leadership. And then, of course, it all moves towards, because of our church polity and the governance that we have, it all moves to a vote for our 640 disciples on January 9th that affirms Jay as our lead pastor. And we're looking forward to that great day and that great vote. So if you would just take a part in that and be praying with us, that would be fantastic. We are so thrilled to be under the guidance of our elders, both of us, and the wisdom they have added to this process and the generosity that they have given to us. And the privilege of being able to shape some of this. We are just thrilled. And I want you to know that none of this is being done in a vacuum. It's all being done with them. And so because of their unanimous affirmation of Jay, we now present him to you to be voted on January 9th. Be praying, and 640 disciples, come out, affirm this young man, and we'll charge ahead into what God has for us next.